Work is continuing with our Mark II Focus RS. We've had an ABS bearing fault for quite some time, but because I'm a genius, I think I've managed to narrow it down to the near side front wheel bearing. And because Ash is far too fast, we've already got that off, but here it is. And on closer inspection, that ABS ring looks, well, knackered. Whilst it was on the car, I definitely couldn't see anything of that magnitude, but now looking at that on the bench, I don't know what's happened to that. Here's our new FAG bearing, and that is exactly what the ABS ring should look like. New flywheel acquired, and new bolts, as well as a new RS clutch and release bearing. And in this box is a new one of these. How bad is it, Ashley? Oh, it's seen better days, hasn't it? In fact, that doesn't look that bad. Oh yeah, the edge has gone. Very much so. How bad's that? Oh, we've done a good job of that, mate. And there's plenty of heat spots on the flywheel too. But like most of the rest of this car, it's all gonna get replaced. I bet most flywheels look like that coming off a Focus RS.
Thanks for the help.
No worries, just trying to film.
Fuck! Fucking hell.
Heavy that.
Trap my finger.
Well, you had no sympathy for the last time I trapped my finger, so unlucky, mate. Would you like to tell the audience how much them bolts were, Ash?
No.
They were about £4 each. It was £40 for 10.
Plus VAT.
And that's plus VAT, and that's at a discounted price as well. And whilst Ash fits the new flywheel and RS clutch kit, I want to tell you guys why I think this car was worth saving. Yeah, our high mileage hero didn't come to us in the best condition, but she's not recorded as stolen, has legitimate mileage history, has no finance outstanding, and most importantly, has never been recorded as a write-off. However, this Mark III Focus RS has clearly been in a serious accident. A lot of car vertical reports show pictures of the damage, and unsurprisingly, this one's a category B, meaning it cannot go back on the road and can only be used for parts. Car Vertical leaves no stone unturned when searching for a car's history, so it doesn't matter whether you're buying, selling, or wanting information on a car you already own. Make sure you hit the link in the description box below and use code EvilGT for your money off. And with the last few bolts holding that clutch in position, we're nearly ready to get that gearbox back on. And based on how much of a faff it was to get out, neither of us were looking forward to trying to put it back in. The ECU's in a bit of a weird position on these, right at the front of the engine in a plastic case. With that out the way, Ash would get to fitting the starter motor back to the gearbox. And by the way, if you enjoy videos like this, then a sub to the channel would be absolutely amazing. Ash, the man of little faith, didn't think that this gearbox would be as easy as it was to get back in. And you see, Ash, this is the thing, mate. With me, anything is possible.
Oh, right.
Drafted in muscle like me usually costs a lot of money, doesn't it? And this is the appreciation I get. We have the new gearbox mount compared to the old gearbox mount. Looks like somebody spray painted it. About to complete another certificate, which is bleeding a clutch. Down, up, down.
Right, just keep it there. Don't put it up. What's it doing now?
It's just on the floor.
Yeah, bring it up.
You just said don't.
Yeah, now I'm asking you to. Fucking hell.
You're such an angry old man. Up.
Yeah, if you press it now, what's happening? Right, bring it up.
It's stuck to the floor.
Yeah, so bring it up.
Okay, there we go. We're getting a little bit.
Right, so hold it down.
Yeah.
Bring it up.
Up.
Pump it. Reckon that's right?
Yeah, I think so. Told you, didn't I? With me, you can do anything, mate. You learn something every day. I didn't know that, one, you had to bleed the clutch, and number two, it uses the same reservoir as the brake fluid reservoir. Not much left to do, to be fair. Gear oil needs to go back in. We'll build up both sides with the hubs, drive shafts, connect all that stuff up. Battery and bits and bobs back in. We're nearly there. As a lot of you guys will already know, Ash has a full-time job and not as a mechanic, ironically, so I had to do this bit on my own. Luckily, I have done this before, so would definitely consider myself a bit of a certified professional at this now. It didn't make it any less of a ball ache though. Trying to get the drive shaft in, along with the strut in at the top, anti-roll bar link and the bottom ball joint all at the same time was not fun on your own. I am definitely not working hard enough because I've had to put my hoodie on and my hat on. Progress is being made. I found this a bit difficult because Ash is the one who pulled this apart, not me. So I'm looking at bolts and different things and thinking, where the bloody hell does that go? But we're getting there. This old coolant was annoying me, so I decided to clean that up with a bit of brake cleaner as best I could. We reluctantly had to loosen the subframe bolts to get the gearbox out a bit easier, so I bolted that back up tight, but I'm going to have to get this alignment checked again now, unfortunately. Onto the gearbox mount at the bottom next, and I didn't take this off, but obviously I made the only mistake you could, fitting these two bits back on. Of course, the half that goes into the subframe needs to go in first, because you can't get it in if you've bolted the bit to the gearbox on first, as I found out. Annoyingly, the boost pipe was in the way too, so I had to move that out of the way to get to the fourth bolt on the gearbox mount. I attached that boost pipe to the intercooler and we're done. I cocked up here with the camera angle not getting the gear oil draining out, so you'll have to take my word for it here that I did do it. The drain plug was no issue undoing it, but the fill plug was a right pain in the ass. It was partially hidden by the subframe arm thing, which made the bolt a complete nightmare to get to straight. A couple of phone calls to Ash saying he'll have to do it later, and I did actually manage to get it undone. I didn't film me trying, as you couldn't really see anything anyway, but I did undo the fill plug before I drained the gear oil out. As I clearly mentioned before, I am now a professional. After that absolute debacle, it was back to the engine bay where I fitted the bracket with 4 bolts, I think, which is what the battery box bolts down to. The battery box itself had 3 10mm bolts, and once the battery was in position, there's a clamp that holds that in place with an awkward little bolt down the right hand side of the box. The front cover needed to go on next, as this helps to route the cables to the battery. The fuse box cover just clips on, and the final thing was to fit the intake filter back on with a Jubilee clip. Not bad. John at the head shop has very kindly put my new bearing in, another new bearing. As you can see, this ABS ring looks pristine, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. Now I've got that back, I do need to build the Revo knuckle back up and then get that back on the passenger side of the car. On with the top and bottom of the Revo knuckle next. The bottom uses 3 13mm bolts and the top uses one really big 30mm nut. Then it was back in with the ABS sensor, and now it's all back together, it's time to put it back on the car. I wedged a pry bar up the back of this Revo knuckle to help it slide onto the bottom of the shock. It's then a wrestle with getting the drive shaft in properly, but thankfully Ash turned up at this point and I left it to him. It was then on with the disc and the spacer. I tightened up the trap rod end, and on with a caliper with just 2 caliper bolts. What a job this car has been. We're on the home stretch, finally. This car is back in one piece. We'll get it back on the floor, we'll go for a drive, and please pray to the car gods that the ABS fault is gone. I can just hear music. I knew it was going to be soppy bollocks. I knew straight away. Never mind sitting in there. Can you give us a hand fixing this or what? Moment of truth. Go on then, Ash. Well, that's a good start. What are you saying? Did you just say the ABS light's on? Go for a drive, see if it goes off. Well, this is a good start. Let's go.
Seatbelt on.
You have got your seatbelt on, well played. Do you want to just explain to people that you do actually have a medical exemption, like a proper certificate?
I genuinely do, yeah.
For all those that are like, oh, natural selection, and does he think he's better than us and all this kind of stuff? Well, no, he is actually, I mean, he's fine now, but he wasn't very well. To you people that comment sometimes without sort of thinking about, actually, people can be completely disabled and not show it. Isn't that right, mate?
Yeah.
Good news. No crunching, no ABS kicking in, no nothing, and we've still got no lights. That is an absolute result. Now, the only other thing we need to check is if this temperature gauge comes back on for the oil, so we do need to go for a decent spin. Your keys are in your car. Why would you do that?
I know.
We brought Uncle Albert along for the ride.
Insurance job.
Yeah. All the emotion is inside, just in regards to actually getting this fixed. The issue was the wheel bearing. Clearly the ABS ring was damaged, and we managed to get that sorted in the end. I'm made up. You know, I know my face isn't, this is like more relief than anything else, but I'm made up. Good news, we have some oil temperature. A lot of work and effort has gone in from me in this car. Ash come once or twice to help me out with it, but I keep trying to get him to bite, but he won't, annoyingly. Ignore the bangs and rattles, it's a Ford. But so far so good. We don't have any ABS lights on, or any other lights for that matter. What do we reckon? Feel all right, Ash? She pulls well. Yes. We've got no slipping clutch. We have no ABS light. We've got no traction control light. We've got no engine management light. you what, right, if you've never driven a Mark II Focus RS, go and drive one. Because for a front-wheel drive car, front-wheel drive cars are fun, but this gives you...
But it's sideways action.
It gives you loads of grip, and then it lets the back end go, gives you a little bit. It's an absolutely epic car to drive, and it takes me back. I was mentioning before in another video when I was on about Lee's McLaren, and the build quality is not great, and you know, things go wrong with it and all this kind of stuff, but when you drive that car, it's unbelievable. And this is the same. You know, it feels like it's been put together by a 4-year-old, but the actual drive of it is amazing. They drive so well. So is it all worth it, Ash? I'm so happy about that. I am made up that we've got the Focus on the road, up and running, driving brilliantly, touch wood, with no faults. I'm sure time will tell, it'll probably be plenty more. Are you happy with that? Happy days. So if you've enjoyed today's video, thank you very much for watching, as always, and I shall catch you on the next one. I'm planning a road trip. I want to do a road trip in this, because it needs to get out on the road and have its head kicked in. So I don't know where that's going to be yet. I don't know who with, but we'll definitely get that organised.